Respect is not something we chase, it's something we carry. It's not about convincing others that we deserve it, but about walking in such a way that it becomes undeniable. The truth is, people treat you the way you teach them to treat you. And the lesson begins with how you see yourself. If you don't value your own voice, your own presence, and your own worth, then no one else will. Respect begins within, deep inside, where confidence and clarity are formed. You see, many people go through life hoping others will notice them, validate them, or lift them up. They wait for affirmation before they believe in themselves. But that's backward. You can't wait for respect to come from the outside. You have to generate it from within. When you carry yourself with quiet confidence, when you know who you are and whose you are, you no longer have to demand respect. You command it without saying a word. It's not arrogance, it's assurance. It's the deep understanding that you were created with value that cannot be diminished by anyone's opinion. When you respect yourself, you stop begging for attention. You stop over-explaining. You stop shrinking so others can feel tall. You realize that you don't need to prove your worth. You simply need to live it. There's a power that comes from self. Respect that others can't help but notice. It's in the way you walk into a room. Not hurried, not hesitant, but steady and sure. It's in the way you handle conflict. Not lashing out, not folding in, but responding with calm strength. It's in the way you carry peace in your spirit even when life feels uncertain. Some people think respect is about dominance, about being loud, forceful, or controlling, but real respect is quiet. It's the peace of knowing that you don't have to fight for what already belongs to you. You can be kind and still be strong. You can be gentle and still be powerful. You can listen without losing your voice. That balance comes when you've settled the question of your own worth on the inside. When you stop questioning who you are, others stop questioning it too. Self-respect also means you stop tolerating what dishonors you. You stop letting people drain your energy, disrespect your boundaries, or make you feel small. It's not about being rude or distant. It's about knowing that your time, your peace, and your purpose are too valuable to waste on things that pull you backward. When you hold yourself to a higher standard, the world takes notice. It's not pride, it's purpose. You're honoring the gift that you are. Think about it. Even in the smallest details, self-respect shows. It's in how you speak to yourself when no one else can hear. It's in the choices you make when no one else is watching. It's in how you treat your own dreams, your own health, your own growth. If you belittle yourself, ignore your needs, or constantly settle for less, you send a silent message to the world. This is what I believe I deserve. But when you start taking care of your spirit, when you hold your head up, when you expect more from life and from yourself, the message shifts. You begin to tell the world, I am worth more than my mistakes. I am worth more than the approval of others. I am worth respect. And you know what happens? People begin to respond differently. They may not even realize why. But something in your presence changes the atmosphere. You become someone who can't be easily disrespected. Not because you're defensive or intimidating, but because you carry yourself with quiet authority, the kind that says, I know who I am, and I refuse to let anyone make me forget it. That's the power of self-respect. It changes the way you walk, talk, think, and live. Self-respect also means forgiving yourself for past mistakes. You can't walk in confidence if you're still carrying shame. You can't stand tall if you're weighed down by regret. Maybe you've let people treat you poorly in the past. Maybe you've settled for less than you deserved. That's okay. That was a lesson, not a life sentence. Every day is another chance to start treating yourself better. To look in the mirror and say, I may have been through some things, but I'm still standing. I still have value. I still have purpose. When you start seeing yourself through the lens of grace instead of guilt, your respect for yourself grows deeper. And as that inner respect grows, so does your outer world. Opportunities begin to align. Relationships become healthier. Even challenges that used to shake you no longer have the same power. Why? Because you've learned to draw your strength from within, not from the opinions or approval of others. You've built your foundation on something solid, the truth of your worth. Respect begins within. It's not a show you put on for the world. It's a standard you live by in private. It's knowing that you were designed with greatness, equipped with purpose, and capable of rising above anything that tries to diminish you. Respect begins deep inside the heart, long before anyone else ever sees it. It's not something you demand, it's something you develop. True respect is born in the quiet places of your mind where confidence, self-worth, and purpose meet. When you understand that your value doesn't come from what people say about you, what job you have, or what mistakes you've made, something powerful begins to shift. You start walking differently. You start speaking differently. You begin to carry an energy that says, I know who I am. People can feel it without you having to prove a thing. You see, the world often teaches us to chase respect, to work harder, talk louder, or try to please everyone so we can be accepted. But real respect doesn't come from what others think of you. It flows from what you think of yourself. When you look in the mirror and truly believe that you are worthy, capable, and enough, you stop needing outside validation. You stop waiting for applause. You stop living for the opinions of people who were never meant to define you. Respect that comes from within is unshakable because it isn't built on circumstances. It's built on truth. Self-respect means you carry yourself with dignity. Even when life tries to make you doubt your worth, it means you refuse to lower your standards just to fit in. It's knowing that you don't have to prove your strength by shouting or dominating others. You can prove it through your peace, through your patience, through your calm confidence. People can sense when someone has a strong spirit. They can feel it in the way you stand, in the way you look them in the eye, in the way you speak with purpose and not desperation. There's a quiet power that comes when you stop chasing respect and start embodying it. It's the kind of power that doesn't need to announce itself. You walk into a room, and even before you say a word, others notice your presence. They might not know what it is, but it's something about your energy, your posture, your assurance. That kind of respect isn't loud. It's steady. It's not about control, it's about composure. When you respect yourself, you stop settling for less than what you deserve. You stop letting people talk to you any kind of way. You stop agreeing to things that drain your spirit. You start drawing healthy boundaries, not because you're cold, but because you understand your value. You can't expect people to treat you better than you treat yourself. If you constantly ignore your needs, overextend yourself, or put everyone else above your own peace, you teach others that your time and energy don't matter. But when you start saying no to what doesn't serve your purpose, the world starts saying yes to who you truly are. Respecting yourself also means taking responsibility for your growth. You can't expect others to see greatness in you if you don't nurture it. Feed your mind with good thoughts. Feed your heart with gratitude. Feed your spirit with faith. When you invest in yourself through discipline, self-care, and learning, you send a signal to the world that you're serious about your life. You become someone who doesn't need to announce their worth because it's reflected in their actions. You might have gone through seasons where people overlooked you, misunderstood you, or treated you unfairly. Maybe you've been taken advantage of because you were kind or forgiving. But hear this, being kind doesn't make you weak. Being patient doesn't make you powerless. You can have a gentle spirit and still carry unshakable strength. Real respect isn't about being harsh or controlling. It's about standing tall in who you are, even when others don't see your value yet. Sometimes we lose respect for ourselves because of our past. The mistakes, the regrets, the times we didn't stand up for ourselves. But your past does not determine your worth. Every person who has ever accomplished something great has had moments of failure, disappointment, or weakness. The difference is they didn't stay there. They got up, learned the lesson, and grew stronger. Self-respect means forgiving yourself for what you didn't know before and choosing to do better now. You can't hold yourself in the prison of your past and expect to live in the freedom of your purpose. When you begin to rebuild that inner respect, everything around you begins to align. The way people speak to you changes. The kind of opportunities you attract changes. Even the way you walk through challenges changes. Instead of reacting out of insecurity, you start responding from a place of stability. You realize you don't have to fight every battle. Some things simply don't deserve your energy. You learn that your peace is more valuable than being right. Your integrity is worth more than temporary approval. And your dignity is worth protecting no matter what. Respect begins within, and once it's there, no one can take it from you. It's the foundation of confidence, the source of courage, and the key to lasting influence. When you hold yourself with respect, you send a message to the world. Not through arrogance, not through fear, but through quiet assurance that you were created with purpose, filled with potential, and worthy of honor from the inside out. There's a language that goes beyond what you say. It's the message your presence sends before you ever open your mouth. It's the energy that fills a room when you walk in, the calm in your posture, the steadiness in your eyes, the quiet assurance in your spirit. People can feel it before they hear it. They may not know exactly why, but something about you speaks confidence, composure, and strength. Your presence tells the world who you are long before your words ever do. You don't have to shout to be heard. You don't have to demand attention to be seen. The most powerful people are not the loudest, they are the most grounded. When you carry yourself with peace and purpose, you send a silent message that says, I know who I am, and I don't need to prove it. That's the kind of respect that can't be faked or forced. It's earned through your presence. Every day, people are reading you without you saying a word. They notice how you walk, how you sit, how you look at them when they speak. They pick up on your energy. If you walk with your shoulders slouched, eyes down, and spirit heavy, you send a message of defeat before you've even begun to speak. But when you stand tall, when your head is lifted, when you move with calm assurance, you tell the world that you respect yourself and that you expect respect in return. It's not pride, it's presence. It's not about being perfect, it's about being powerful in your stillness. Your presence is built on what you carry inside. If your heart is full of fear, insecurity, or doubt, it shows in your tone, in your expression, in the way you respond to challenges. But when your heart is full of peace, confidence, and purpose, you don't have to convince anyone of your strength. They can feel it. That's why the most respected people aren't always the ones with the most words. They're the ones who can sit in silence and still command attention. Their presence speaks of stability. It says, I'm not here to compete. I'm not here to prove. I'm here to be. Think about someone you've met who just had that undeniable presence. The kind of person who could walk into a crowded room and immediately shift the atmosphere. They weren't loud or flashy, but there was something about their calm that demanded respect. That's not by accident. That's inner work showing up on the outside. It's the result of someone who knows their worth, who's learned not to let the noise of the world disturb their peace. The truth is, presence isn't just about how you stand or how you look. It's about how you show up. It's about the energy you bring into every space you enter. When you walk into a room with gratitude, confidence, and quiet joy, you make people feel safe. You make them feel seen. You bring stability instead of chaos. And people respect that because so few carry it. Your presence also grows through discipline. It's not built overnight. It's developed in private moments, when no one is watching, when you practice self-control, when you choose calm over anger, when you stay composed instead of reacting to every insult. You strengthen your presence. People notice when you refuse to be shaken. They notice when you stay centered in the middle of tension. That kind of steadiness is rare, and it earns respect faster than any speech ever could. When you live from a place of inner peace, your presence becomes your voice. You can say more with a look than others can with a lecture. Your silence can carry more authority than someone else's argument. That's because peace is powerful. It shows that you're not desperate for approval. You're not ruled by ego, and you're not afraid of being misunderstood. You know your truth, and you're content to let it speak. for itself. Presence also means alignment. Your words, your actions, and your attitude all flow together. There's nothing more commanding than consistency. When people see that you are the same in public as you are in private, the same in success as in struggle, they begin to trust your character. That trust becomes respect, and that respect becomes influence. It's easy to underestimate how much your energy communicates. Every time you enter a meeting, speak with a friend, or interact with a stranger, you are broadcasting something. You're either saying, "I'm confident in who I am," or "I'm unsure and searching for approval." You can't fake inner peace. It's either there or it's not. But the good news is you can cultivate it. You can develop a presence that speaks volumes simply by tending to what's inside you. When you take time to center yourself, through prayer, reflection, or simply pausing before you react, you begin to build a reservoir of peace that travels with you wherever you go. That peace becomes your anchor. It steadies your emotions, it strengthens your decisions, and it speaks louder than anything you could ever say. You don't have to force people to notice you when your energy already commands attention. Your presence is also your protection. When you carry yourself with quiet confidence, people think twice before trying to disrespect you. It's not because you're intimidating, but because your spirit communicates self-worth. You teach others how to treat you by the way you treat yourself, by the way you carry yourself, by the energy you bring into every situation. When your presence is grounded in peace and purpose, your words become more powerful. You don't have to say as much because your spirit already said it. You can walk into chaos and bring calm. You can face pressure and still look composed. You can be surrounded by noise and yet stay still inside. That's real power. Not the kind that tries to control others, but the kind that controls itself. Your presence speaks louder than your words. It's the mirror of your inner world, and the reflection of your belief in yourself, the outward expression of your inner confidence. It's not something you chase. It's something you cultivate until it becomes who you are, wherever you go. Boundaries are not walls that keep people out. They are bridges that keep your peace intact and your strength alive. They are not built from pride or selfishness, but from self, respect, and wisdom. So many people struggle with saying no because they think it makes them unkind or unhelpful. But the truth is, a life without boundaries slowly loses its balance. When you live without limits, you spread yourself too thin, you give away your energy too easily, and you begin to feel empty on the inside. Boundaries are not about shutting others down. They are about standing tall in who you are so you can give from a place of fullness instead of exhaustion. Every strong person you admire has learned the power of boundaries. They know when to say yes, and they know when to say no. They understand that not every demand deserves a response, and not every opportunity is meant for them. Boundaries are not about control. They are about clarity. When you are clear about what you will and will not allow, your life begins to align with peace. You stop running after people who take you for granted. You stop saying yes out of guilt or fear of rejection. You start saying yes from a place of purpose. Setting boundaries doesn't make you less loving. It makes your love stronger. Because when you no longer give from depletion, what you give becomes genuine, healthy, and whole. Too many people think they are being kind by always saying yes, by always helping, by always being available. But kindness without boundaries leads to burnout. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and you cannot serve from a place of resentment. True strength comes from the courage to protect your energy so you can continue to give from a place of joy. Boundaries are also a reflection of how deeply you value yourself. When you respect your time, your peace, and your purpose, you teach others to do the same. People learn how to treat you by watching what you tolerate. If you allow disrespect, manipulation, or constant negativity, it will continue because you've silently permitted it. But when you begin to draw a line and say, "This is not acceptable," you shift the energy. It's not about confrontation, it's about communication. You're not fighting against anyone. You're standing for your own well-being. There's a quiet confidence that grows when you start setting boundaries. At first, it feels uncomfortable, especially if you've spent years trying to please everyone. You may fear losing people, disappointing them, or being misunderstood. But every time you honor your limits, you strengthen your spirit. You start realizing that peace is more valuable than approval. You begin to see that the right people won't be offended by your boundaries. They'll respect them, because people who truly care about you want you to be rested, fulfilled, and at peace, not drained and depleted. Boundaries are not just about people. They're also about habits, environments, and even thoughts. You can't build a strong life if you're constantly feeding your mind with negativity. Sometimes you have to set boundaries with your own inner dialogue. You have to stop entertaining thoughts that tear you down. You have to stop replaying old mistakes. Stop feeding fear. Stop letting doubt rent space in your mind. Guarding your thoughts is one of the highest forms of self-respect, because what you focus on eventually shapes how you live. There's also a boundary that must exist between your past and your future. You cannot keep revisiting old pain and expect to move forward with new strength. At some point, you have to close the door on what hurt you, not because it didn't matter, but because it's finished. Boundaries give you permission to move on. They free you from the weight of constantly carrying yesterday's burdens. Every time you say, "That season is over," you take back your power. Strong boundaries create space for peace, creativity, and purpose to thrive. When your life isn't cluttered with constant demands and distractions, your spirit begins to breathe again. You think clearer, you act with more intention, and you stop reacting out of pressure. You begin to live from a place of strength,